Okay, small theory. I wanted last time we discussed about what is operating system and type of operating system and what is Linux. Okay, so this is a Linux features, multi-user capacity, multitasking. Okay, so already we seen Linux, multiple users are login. Like yesterday we login with three users, right? So root we login, student, user one, user two also we login, right? We switch it to user two actually. Okay, so multiple users we can log in remotely, we can able to log in. Okay, multitasking we can do it, so we can do two three jobs at a time because multiple users are logged into one system means, so multiple sessions are running, so background sessions, foreground sessions also run. Like what are you put a u command, so not only that background, so many things are running. Okay, next, security level. So already we seen the file level security, right? So we given a permission to particular user, we are given a permission to group, giving permission to others, remove the permission to others, remove the permission to group, like we given a file level things. User level security, just small example is sudo users. A normal user, root user, normal user cannot do administrative task, but we make that user as a sudo user and he can able to do it. If the user is not sudo user, he cannot able to run the administrative task. Okay, administrative things like do as a super user, he cannot do that one, sudo. Okay, so that we done. Okay, and also not only that one, so sometimes certain users we can make them more powerful than any other user and root user also, so we can create a security level like if you know the user password, then only we can able to install something, or maybe you can able to run some programs. Okay, root user also useless in that case, so like that we can able to create a security level. Understand, Linux is a open source. So open source means the source code known by everyone. Securing the source code means securing your own operating system. When you build an operating system, or maybe when you are using an operating system, securing it is depends upon the administrator only. So the administrator of that Linux system or Unix system, so they has to create their own security level. So then other people don't understand what security you are created, even though they understand your source code. So we can able to alter everything and we can make more secure on it. That's why Linux and Unix operating systems are more secure than a normal Windows operating system. Windows is a default secured one. By default it is secured one, so we cannot crack Windows 10 password by directly, like no problem, we can able to crack it. Okay, Linux root password we can crack it, but we cannot crack the Windows server administrative passwords. Not that much easy. No, 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 you don't get any guideline until unless you are a professional hacker, then only we can able to maybe hack it. But Linux, if you are a student, you can do root password. Like if you have a physical access, simply you can able to crack root password of Linux operating system. Even textbook, in textbook there is a chapter for how to reset the root password for Linux. Okay, that is what I'm saying. But if you are make it more secure way, so then it is very difficult to get inside of Linux operating system. That is, we can encrypt the file, we can decrypt the file. Okay, as per your syllabus we are not doing that one. Okay, next, virus free. So it is not completely, but normally Windows is a self executable file, so many are there, like .exe things are so many are there. When you double click on it, automatically it will execute the file. For example, we are using a putty on my desktop, so many are there. If you want to see, like this is the putty. Okay, it's a self executable. If I double click, putty will open directly. Some are installed apps, some are installed apps are there. If you see like a WhatsApp, or maybe so the gaming things, or maybe there's some, yeah, PyCharm. These are all applications. So then application is in the background, and this is a shortcut from there to here. See, this is also executable directly. We can open the Rufus. Okay, this is not install, so we don't install it. But whatever it is, anything is a like installation files. non-installation directly executable things. Okay, whatever it is, it's .exe is whenever you take download a package, if you double click, it start executing depends upon the internal code. If internal code is contains some virus, and automatically it will execute and it will attack on your system. Okay, so that is what I'm saying. It is what is how virus will be affected to your system. Nothing will come to your system, just you are accepting it. You download something from torrents, or do you download something from third party websites like file hippo, cnet, and all kind of stuff. So you are accepting those kind of viruses into your system. So you double click on it, automatically without seeing thing, it is extract into your system, and it is installed into your system, and your system is affected with virus. Not only one kind of virus, different viruses are there. And the structure of the virus is only run in a Windows operating system. Most of the virus were created for Windows operating system, like Win32 kind of virus. Like last time I tried to download one application yesterday only. Immediately my Windows Defender detected it. Windows Defender itself detected it, and it is removed that one. So because of it, find a hack Win32 in .exe kind of stuff, viruses, okay, trojans, malwares, um, the spywares. These are all mostly for Windows operating system related viruses only created. So whenever you open a website, or whenever you're installing an application, games from some different third-party websites, obviously it contains a virus kind of stuff. It is try to spread into your system through where you are download from there only. So faster downloads like IDM when you use it, like uTorrents. Okay, so a lot of virus will come to your system. You are accepting it and installing it. Why Windows related virus are there? Because of in the worldwide, Windows operating system is using, not Linux. Linux is not used for basically not for desktop purposes. Linux, major Linux is using for server purpose only. All enterprise Linux used for a server related purpose only. So you can't do normal window thing. Light users, like for a light users, only people who are using a for a basic application, or mm, um, internet working basic applications like just like a word processor, spreadsheet kind of stuff. So they can use Linux based any flavors like Linux, Mint, Ubuntu kind of stuff. But majorly people are more comfortable, easy of working with Windows only, because easy to install any application, manage the applications are quite easy. And by default Windows is secured one, but still there is a problem with the virus and malwares. Okay, those kind of Windows self-executable virus things won't work in a Linux. Okay, and in a Linux, when you are working with a Linux, mostly we don't go with these self-executable. We are download proper channels only, and whatever you need it, then only we'll install it. That is also services related only, so we don't worry about that one. Okay, so virus free communication, so we are using SSH to communicate from one PC, you from communication, like Linux to Linux communication, Linux to Windows communication, PuTTY communication, okay, mail communication, um, right? So these are the things in a communication. Scheduling a task. What is scheduling a task? We can schedule a task like we are running some file, or maybe you want to backup, you want to update the system. So we can schedule it. So do in a particular time or a particular interval of time. Okay, so auto scheduling type, like we can schedule a task like every Friday evening take the backup, every Monday check the system, all the file system and everything is good or not before you going to start the services. Or maybe every Wednesday, or maybe every month, first day of the month, first day of the month means like first March, or first April, or first May, like that. So every first Okay, check updates. So like that we can able to schedule a certain task. Or maybe now it's 11 o'clock, right? So at a 12 o'clock, okay, so what I'm saying, it's like at 12 o'clock run this script. Okay, run this script, check whether it is pinging or not. Okay, or maybe it took backup or maybe update. So that is a scheduling a task. So that is also we can able to do with the Linux. Of course, don't say these things are not there in a Windows. It is there in a Windows. Okay, only major difference in a Windows to Linux as per this list is multitasking is same. Okay, multi-user capacity is not there. Of course, Windows has a multi-user capacity. Multiple users we can do it, but at a time multiple users cannot log in. But in Linux, at a time multiple users can able to log in a different Windows or different remote sessions also. We can log in. Windows also log in, but need a extra permission. Extra, you have to take the license for that one. And it is a open source Linux, so you can download Linux kernel and we can develop the Linux kernel, and as per your requirement you can build your own operating system. And another one is already build operating systems like a Red Hat, as this is in a market currently. Red Hat Enterprise Linux, Oracle Enterprise Linux, CentOS, SUSE, OpenSUSE, Debian, um, um, Ubuntu. Okay, these are all distributions of Linux operating system, and all are free operating systems only. So you don't need to pay for that one. So everything is under GNU, general, okay, GNU, not Unix mode only. Okay, and as for a GPL it is license free. So just you have to certain operating system you may require to register to the company using your organization email ID. Okay, and some are not required, like CentOS not required a registration. That's why I'm using CentOS. Okay, Red Hat required a registration for a application download or anything. Okay, so like that, if you want to download or you want to update your current version, so you want to update your kernel, you want to update your mm, applications, it means services, apps, you want to update it next to next version, or you want to download remotely particular service related application, right? So you require register to Red Hat. But in a CentOS you don't need to do that one, so everything is free only. That's why we are using CentOS to avoid that registration part. Okay, so and some are required registration, some are not required, but both you don't need to pay for anything. Okay, you don't need to pay for anything, just we need a registration email ID kind of stuff only. Okay, that is another one. Compared to Windows to Linux, so you can just you can try. Of course I will find and forward one small part. So this is another important question: Windows, Linux, and Linux versus Windows. Okay, so you can find a lot of things. So this is a 99 Guru. You can find a lot of websites to do it. So I have opened Linux for this one. So here it is showing differences between Linux, Windows, Mac kind of stuff, kind of also. Mac uses Mac operating system also use Unix kernel thing only. When your interviewer said what is the difference between Unix and Linux, again that's another difference part. Windows and Unix, same thing only. So Windows and Linux, Windows and Unix is same, but Unix and Linux there is a differences are there. Okay, so you can go through once, then you can find whatever you understand also. Okay, a few things will say like here for a theory purpose. Linux and Windows. Okay, so different times like this. Windows is a proprietary of Microsoft. Windows is a proprietary of Microsoft. So how to put these things in a separate way. Okay, this is a non-proprietary. We have to check the spelling. almost. Okay, so this is a non-proprietary. It's a Microsoft proprietary is Microsoft related one. Okay, Microsoft. Okay, it's a open source. It's not open source. Source code not open. Okay, so understand differences. Okay, Linux non-proprietary. Microsoft open source code is not open. So not open means you cannot change the source code. We can change the source code is here. We can change code. We can change source code actually, but no space here. Okay, we cannot. We can't change. We can change the source code. I write in code only, but we can change the source code and we can develop into another different operating system in Linux. But in Windows is Windows only. We cannot develop into some different, like a Windows 10 is there. Now you can develop a Windows 11. We can't do it. Okay, of course there is some people scrap the operating system, then they will do it. Okay, I'm not saying about that one. Okay, that one. Okay, no need to pay anything. Okay, actually no need to pay for using Linux. Okay, and Windows most of the operating system you have to pay for a use operating system. Okay, so means like you have to buy, no need to pay or no need to buy operating system, but you have to buy operating system. You have to buy operating system. Mostly Windows is not free except one or two things, like evolution versions are free, but that is also limited thing. Okay, evolution 180 days limited is there. Normally almost all Windows related applications operating systems are belongs to payment only. So without paying you can't use it except evolution is trial version. Full with the trial limited time version is there. Okay. Mm, okay, these are generally thing. Okay, here file system. Not hierarchy. I'm telling about a file system. Here ext3, ext2, ext3, sorry, not that option. ext3, ext4, xfs. These are the file system. Here file system be used in a for a drives. Okay, um, only FAT, NTFS. Okay, FAT and NTFS. So these are the file systems. Okay, so in Linux usually everything is a file and Windows is completely closed. We don't think. Okay, okay, mostly used for, okay, server related purpose only, services purpose only, server services, like a network services kind of stuff. Okay, Windows is separated, desktop version and server editions are separate. Desktop version is there, server version is there. Desktop used for desktop purpose, server used for server. But Linux is like mostly it is a server only. Okay, mostly for server purpose only. Mostly almost like a 99% it is a server only. Okay, so we don't use it for desktop purposes. Okay, so like this you can keep on going like um, virus is free virus, so it's free from virus, so virus won't react here. Don't think like that. So virus effect on a Linux is also there, okay, but it is very minimum, because most of the viruses built for a Windows operating system. So then it is so just for a interview purpose or general purpose, you can see it's a virus free. You can see it's a free from virus. Virus free means free from virus, it's a different part, okay. So you can add that one, so I'm not adding now, okay. So you can add virus free. It's a prone to virus, so virus effect on Windows is more possibilities are there. So that is one of the question. So difference between Linux and Windows. And also you can go to this uh, Google and you can try, there is a lot of different structures, file systems, access, like here even, okay, it is having drives like C drive, D drive, E drive. Here no, there is no specific drive. We have a drives, we have a partitions are there, okay. Of course we forget, like it's the root is a administrator, okay. It's a root is super user, root is a super user, okay. Here it is administrator, okay, administrator. Hmm. One important thing we forget, that is very important, that is case sensitive. Oh, someone came, finally she came. And this is no case sensitive, mostly except for passwords in a certain things. Case sensitive, not a case sensitive, okay, no case sensitive, not case sensitive, or no case sensitive, anything, no problem. Okay, these are important, okay. Case sensitive is very important here, okay. And mostly we used in a CLI base only, it is CLI based used only, okay. And this is mostly we use in a graphical user interface, okay. GI based graphical user interface. uh, Guys, whatever it is like security, free, virus free kind of stuff, so better not to trust on those things, better to trust on what you know already. So Linux is case sensitive, compulsory, capital A, capital B, everything is important here, okay. And Linux is CLI based, mostly Linux is administrated with commands only, not with the GUI options are very less, okay. CLI in a Windows is, okay. So in a Windows is a GUI base. Mostly when I do all these things, am I using any CMD here? CMD is using very less, very less, almost like 10% only in Windows. CLI is 10%, 90% GUI only. In Linux, GUI is a 10%, and 90 more than 90%, more than 90% is CLI. And to prove that one, we are using a minimal version. So we didn't touch any GUI in Linux also. Okay. So directly we are minimal version only. Okay. Because this GUI will take more space. Um, so these things like a general, very general things are very important than what something like great things like virus or these kind of stuff. Of course, no proprietary Microsoft, different distributions are there. Linux having a different distribution, so you have to tell that one. I'm not typing that one, but Linux has a different distribution. Linux, anybody can take the Linux and build a Linux part, but in Windows, no distribution, because it's a proprietary. It is belongs to Microsoft. That is very important point. Another important point. And Linux administrator is root, and administrator is a name. Name of the administrator is administrator. Okay. In Linux, no one is become a super user. Root is a root always. No one is become a root, but anybody can become an administrator in Windows operating system. And Windows, there is a desktop type of a Windows operating system, a server type of operating system is there. In Linux, mostly all Linux is basically a server based operating system only, because it's an enterprise Linux. We don't use Linux, we are using enterprise Linux. Okay. Mm. Yeah, in a Windows we have a C drive, D drive, E drive type of drive letters, and we are accessing drives directly. In Linux we don't access the drives directly. We are using with the file system only. Okay, SDA1, SDA2, SDA3 like that only, and we have to mount that one. We can't type here, but just I'm telling directly. Okay. Anything? Yeah. So remote protocol is mostly SSH. So when you want to connect a Linux remotely, we should use SSH. Here we use remote protocol is RDP, remote desktop protocol. You want to access the remotely, and majorly we are using RDP, remote desktop protocol only. Okay. Of course, we can use Telnet. Of course, you want to use Telnet is also possible, and of course, Windows now we are PowerShell is also there. Okay. Majorly RDP. Okay, so Telnet, of course, Telnet, SSH, PowerShell, these three things are there. But don't go to that one. So otherwise, you will go. You can go Telnet, SSH. SSH and Telnet same. Already I am told that one. SSH encrypted way of communication. Like when you are establish the connection is completely encrypted. Whatever the data you are transmitting and receiving, completely encrypted. In Telnet, it is not encrypted. Okay, data is not encrypted. Okay, next, PowerShell. PowerShell is a tool. So in a common Windows, like you said, Windows means you should not say PowerShell. But when you say Windows in a nearby things like a Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows Server, 12, 8, sorry, 2012, 2008, 2016, 2019, the PowerShell is also playing a role in a remote sessions. But common remote sessions are here it is SSH, and here it is RDP. Okay, like we are keep on adding the differences. Differences are important. Next, what is kernel? What is kernel? Kernel already this is a diagram like a hardware. So if you go to the system, you take a system, and then and the system first is hardware, then only operating system, right? So first is hardware, then is a operating system. Okay, so without a hardware, no use of operating system. With the operating system only, if you don't have hardware, it is waste, right? Like that. So you have a hardware, and there is an operating system, and every operating system has a two parts. One is a shell part, another is a kernel part. What are you looking at the screen? This is all belongs to shell only, all belongs to shell only. And what we are not looking at, that is a kernel. Like if you see, I am running a different process here. If you see in a Windows itself, I'm running different process here. These process, why my Chrome taking 34, how many are there? Very less only. Okay, Aditya also subscribed. Oh, great. Subscribers. And why it is more than 1 GB it is occupying, I don't know. Yeah, not much more Windows also. Maybe because of this one. No. Only YouTube. This is only YouTube. That's only one, two, three, four, five. It's okay. Uh, no problem. Leave it. I have a lot of memory. Okay, no problem. So yeah, so not no problem. This is what I'm showing. This is CPU, memory, disk, network, GPU kind of stuff, right? So when these processes are running, So who is running this process? It is displaying the screen by shell, but actually run by our hardware only, right? This process run by hardware. How hardware understand this process? How hardware run understand this process and running into your system and giving output on a screen, right? Um, I will quit this one. So little bit less. Okay, see. Um, if I run, if the process, whatever the process I'm running, so it is run by my processor only. But how processor understand to how to run this process one by one. For example, if I open something, okay, if I open some application, or maybe I close some application when I open some tab, okay, what how it will understand. Okay, if I open some tab, or maybe I close tab some tab, I open something, I will open okay, I will open Gmail. Okay, how my system will understand? I open a tab and I open a Gmail and how to run this one based on your shell and kernel interaction only. Kernel understand finally what your process you are open and how to run the process inside a PC. Okay, so I open some application. I open a putty. I open my VMware. Okay, so then where am I? Here. So I open a VMware, and that is one process. I open my Linux running now, and now the virtual session will be created. Okay, virtual hardware start on, and then it is running on my CPU, RAM, and hard disk. Okay, so then how it will understand? Okay, so this is entirely um, understand by kernel, and kernel is giving that one. But when we are talking about Windows, we don't talk about kernel and shell. Normally we don't talk about kernel and shell because of we can't see the what is kernel program and shell programming, and we can't alter them also, we can't touch them. Okay, let it do. So we install something, we run something, and we manage something, but we don't try to understand what is the kernel inside. But in Linux we can able to see the kernel version, kernel what kind of kernel it is. Already I given a command for a kernel also. I'm typing to check the kernel version. Command is uname space hyphen r. Okay, what is the command? Kernel. This is a one important question. Kernel version is uname space hyphen r. Okay, so like close it. That's better. Close it. Um, so where are my commands? So kernel space hyphen r to check the version. Okay, so we can check the version, we can alter the kernels also, we kernel management things also there. But here what kernel will be managed? So first one is it will manage the hardware management, means entire your hardware means CPU, RAM, hard disk is there, CD-ROM is there, floppy disk is there, power connection, network connection, everything is there, no? So like that is a hardware management, so total hardware management. Next, disk management. You have a hard disk. How many partitions are there, and which partition is linked to which file system? If you want to save the data into particular place, then where it is. Like yesterday, we created some directories, right? So in a different places are there. So where it is located, where to store the data, how to manage this data. Okay, boot block, super block, inode block. These are all comes under disk management related only. Where is your operating system in disk? Okay, where is a boot files located in a disk? These are all comes under disk management. Process management. You're running a process, you are connected with a terminal, you are giving a command, or maybe you are giving a ping command, or maybe ls command, or pwd command, whatever it is. All the commands comes under process management only, so it will queue the process. Okay, I put a command, or maybe I open something, I said do like this. So it is a process, it will queue the process. First process, second process. Process may have a priority, higher priority process, lower priority process. So it will manage the process with their priorities. So who will execute after execution of the process? So what to do? Whether it, output display on the screen, output go to the file. Yesterday we practiced with a redirection. So that is, we redirect the output to the file instead of displaying the screen, right? So that is a that is one of the process management. Okay. And for example, I want to kill the process. So I open the process and I don't want this process now, then I will kill the process. So that is a process management. Memory management, RAM, swap memory, virtual memory management, physical memory management, how much memory you are utilizing. Okay, like that. So system, so how much allocated for a particular task, for how much memory you can utilize, like that. Network management, we are connected with a network, right? So so whenever you connect with the network, you should get an IP address, getting an IP communication to the remote place, everything through network we are doing. So hardware wise, I'm telling about hardware wise. So network management, memory management, process management, disk management, and hardware management. So you have to tell what is the kernel means. Kernel is a part of operating system which interacts with your hardware, and it manages hardware, disk management, process management, memory management, and network management. A kernel is the heart of the operating system, okay, which interacts with your hardware and shell. Okay, next, what is shell? Shell is a user interface. So what are I am doing? So this is entirely shell only. So entire desktop GUI mode I'm doing in with the Windows 10. So that is shell only. But in a Linux where mostly the shell means it's a terminals only. Desktop GUI mode is there, but different terminals we are open. So depends upon type of shell you will get it your type of terminal. Our terminals are getting like this, hashtags and all. Okay, I didn't log in, so I will log in first. So we are getting a hashtag, dollar symbols. Okay, the commands are differ from one shell to another shell. We are using a, by default is a bash shell only, Barney again shell. Okay, but there is a before Barney again shell, there is a Bourne shell, C shell, T shell, K shell, like that. There are different shells are there. So the way you are the shell is developed, so different type of commands we are doing. Okay, for example, if you go to Ubuntu commands, so I want only CMDs. Okay, so these are a common commands, and there is a specific commands in a installation and all. So you can go to tutorial, accept all visitors. Yeah, yeah, what is this? Cookies. Yeah, here see, apt get, like we use a yum installer here. We use a yum in the Linux, and here it is showing apt get. That's the difference. Okay, that's the difference. Okay. I think you got the point. So different shells, like it there, we're going to using a different shell. Okay, so the shell related commands are there. Some commands will accept the common commands, whether whatever you're using Linux or Windows. These are a common commands anyway. CP, MV, PWD, CD, LS, MKDAR, RMDAR. These are all common commands we are using. Whatever we learn in a Linux, so common in both Linux, Windows, both common in Linux, Unix, and what are the flavor of Linux we are using. So these commands will work. Echo, okay. So date commands. These are all common in both Linux and Unix. Unix like a operating system. It is common in a Unix like a operating system. Okay, but if you go to different operating system in in main Linux only, in a different flavors of Linux only. Few commands are different. Okay, like this is we are using apt get, and if you go to Debian, so there is a different dnet something is there, def or something is there. Okay, see these are again some common questions. It's common like install a package. See it is showing a dpkg. Okay, like this. So different deb file using something is giving, right? Okay. Whatever it is, I'm saying is shell may different from one enterprise Linux to another Linux, but common Unix like operating system, whatever the command we learn with the bash shell is a common in everywhere. Okay, few commands may different, so few administrative commands may different, like a service management related, or maybe package management related, or maybe um, disk management related thing. Commands are may different, but common commands already we learn, and most of the common shell we are using is a bash shell only. Okay, so this is about your Linux, another theory part. Okay, so features of Linux, Linux kernel, Linux shell. So these three things I told, and yesterday also I told some part that is run levels. Run levels I explained it. Okay, so another small part is a processing related background process, foreground process management, and job management. That is also there. Okay, so that we will going to see. Okay.